Greetings all. I will never get a greetings all out on the first take. Greetings all and welcome to Dave's Craft Room. I'm Dave and on today's video, I'm making a Cheez-it quilt. I don't know why I had this idea. I had this idea like a long time ago. I think I'm just obsessed with Cheez-its. Last year, I made my 100 days, 100 blocks quilt, which was my very first video. In that quilt, one of the blocks was a Cheez-it block. And that was kind of a proof of concept for me. I already had the idea to make a Cheez-it quilt long before that. And I went on Spoonflower and bought this Cheez-it fabric. This Cheez-it fabric has appeared in a lot of quilts, but I originally bought it to make this Cheez-it quilt. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make Cheez-it blocks. This is Cheez-it color. And I'm gonna put a black circle in the middle to represent the hole in the Cheez-it. And then I'm gonna sew on 3 pieces of button salt. I'm gonna put a red border around each Cheez-it block, and then I'm gonna do it every other one with this. Like every other block is gonna be Cheez-it fabric. And I'm also gonna put the Cheez-it logo on there with applique, I think. So, honestly, I need to just make an easy quilt. I've been doing the most recently with recently I've been working on the English paper piecing king size quilt. I need to start this year's maple and eucalyptus 100 days, 100 blocks quilt, which I'm gonna do. That's gonna be a huge project. So basically, I just wanna do a quilt that's a little bit less psychotic, that's just pure fun, where I can just have fun and make a quilt and finish it in a few days. I'm obsessed with Cheez-its. I love Cheez-its. Can you believe they didn't even have the original kind, although I like the cheddar jack too. They didn't have the original kind. I went to the grocery store to buy them just for a prop for this video, but they didn't have the original kind. What kind of grocery store doesn't stock original, but stocks the white cheddar and cheddar jack? But I do like these too. Okay, I need to get started. You'll see what I'm doing. You don't need me to explain it. First, I'm gonna cut this. This is gonna show me how big. need one more. I need one more 8.5-inch square, I guess. All right, I'm now gonna make my Cheez-it block. I have here 38 Cheez-it squares. Actually, I had to piece 6 of them because I ran out of orange fabric. But I have 38 Cheez-its and I have the red. I'm gonna sew the red border around each Cheez-it. So here I go. All right, so I have my blocks here. And I realized that I didn't even explain what I'm doing. I sewed the blocks way bigger than I need because I'm gonna trim them, and I'm gonna trim them, you know, a little bit skewed so that each Cheez-it is not exactly straight. All of them are a little bit different. But first, we need to put the hole in the middle of a Cheez-it because there's a hole in the middle of the Cheez-it. So I wonder why. If anybody knows why there's a hole in the Cheez-it, put the comment below. On the original block I did, I used a button for a hole illusion. I want this quilt to be perfect. So we're gonna do kind of a reverse applique to a reveal because that's gonna give the look of it being an actual hole. I've done this method in videos before, but I've never done it this small. This method was invented by Dale Fleming. She calls it the 6-minute circle. I've done it in less than 6 minutes before. It might take me longer with them being small. I'll show you the steps. I hope that this works. I've not even done a test yet. I'm doing this now for the first time. I'm gonna cut these like, they don't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, I'll just use this 3-inch ruler. I won't make one for each block because you can reuse them. You just can't reuse them forever. I think kind of the stickiness of this freezer paper wears off. These don't really have to be perfect because these aren't as important. How many did I make? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. So I have this freezer paper pieces here, and I have a dime. Oh, sorry, this is a nickel. I have a nickel, and I'm just gonna trace around the nickel. The nickel is the size that I want. It will be the smallest of these that I'm ever doing, so I hope I can pull it off. Maybe I should have started with just one, but I really think it's gonna work, so that's why I'm okay with starting with 10 right off the bat. I wanna say that this actually doesn't have to be perfect. Each Cheez-it is not exactly perfectly the same, is it? Now I take my X-Acto knife and cut out the circle. Okay, so I have my holes. What I'm gonna do now, I don't think I mentioned this, but I did do this. I'm doing this before I trim them for a reason because I'm concerned that they might get like warped. So that's why I'm like, better do this and then trim them. I need to find the center of each block by going like this. Just crease a small X. Put a dot. Then I'm going to iron my circle on, try to center it right over the X that I creased in. That's good. Next, I'm gonna take the X-Acto knife. I'm just gonna cut lines across it, almost up to the paper, but not quite to the paper. Fold it over as we iron it. See how there's a hole now? Fold it over and iron it down. That would be the hole. And this is the back. So you have those like triangles of the stuff, of the fabric there. Glue them. Put glue on them, on each triangle. I will show you this again from the top down view. Put my square, this is a 2-inch square of black. Put that on top. Iron it to dry the glue. That's what it will look like, finally. And if you look close, it looks like reverse applique. I can peel this paper off very carefully because the glue is dry, so it shouldn't go anywhere. It should just come right through the hole if I pull carefully and not too fast. I can use this again 2 or 3 times, probably no more than that because it loses the stickiness. Then I take this to the machine and I sew right along this line. Iron it, and there we have our circle, our Cheez-it hole. So there are 37 Cheez-it blocks. No, there are 38 Cheez-it blocks. I need to do this 37 more times. But it has to be perfect. It's a Cheez-it quilt. The Cheez-it quilt has to be perfect. So I'm gonna get to it, I guess. so the sewing is done on the wonky Cheez-it blocks, and I got all the holes sewn in, and it's now time to sew on the button salt. I have here, I can't really show you because I will just dump it out, but I have here a bowl of button salt. I selected out all of my buttons, which are salt colored, whatever color salt is. And I'm gonna hand sew them on. I know you can use the machine, but honestly, I feel like hand sewing would be just as fast. So that's it. I mean, I feel like most people pretty much know how to sew a button on. I know just as much because all I've done is look it up on YouTube. But I've counted that I have enough for each Cheez-it to have 3 pieces of button salt, and some of the Cheez-its can give 4 pieces. I should go through each hole 3 times. I don't know if there's a real rule about how many times you should go through, but 3 seems right. Definitely don't want my buttons to fall off. You know what? I wonder if embroidery floss would be faster. Oh, I just broke the thread. Well, I broke it as I was tying the knot, so as long as the knot's tied. I'm gonna try embroidery floss. I wonder if that would be better because it's stronger and I can just go like the one time where, do I have any embroidery? Where's my embroidery floss? This isn't embroidery floss at all. This is Sashiko thread. It's close, very similar. I've had to get a bigger needle. I feel like this is the move because I don't have to go over it several times. I guess that's it. I think it's secure. Maybe I will go over it twice. That's still better than the 3 times that I was doing with the thin thread. Stunning! So that's essentially the Cheez-it block. And there's a little bit more to it because I am going to put an extra piece of batting behind each Cheez-it, just the Cheez-it. And then cut a hole out of that batting, and then I'm gonna quilt inside the circle and around the border. And when I quilt around the border of each Cheez-it, I'm gonna put those lines in that you have on the side of a Cheez-it. So that's gonna make it look even more like a Cheez-it than it currently does. So I'm gonna sew these buttons on off camera. Probably when we come back, I'll be putting them all on the design wall and I'll be ready to assemble the quilt. Then I'm gonna put the batting pieces behind the trapunto adjacent technique. Alright people, here I go cutting 6-inch pieces of batting. These are my batting scraps. I saved them because to make baby quilts out of them, but they do pile up. I'm using them for this. The idea is to put a square of batting behind each Cheez-it, and then there will still be a sheet of batting in it, the whole quilt, so that the Cheez-its pop. In all honesty, I don't know if this is gonna work because I'm afraid that this batting that I'm using is too low loft for it to really take effect, but I'll find out. This is such a thin piece of batting, like, what does 2 look like? Then I'm worried that 2 is too much. I have some cotton batting. No, it's actually twice as thick. This is the 80-20. I'm like talking on the camera more on this video than I normally do, and the reason is I hate recording voiceovers. So I'm like, maybe by talking more in the camera, I won't have to do the voiceover. It's actually not that easy to record them and make it sound good. And if you don't have like an actual studio or like know what you're doing, which I don't, it's not that easy. I want my Cheez-its to pop out. They can't be too big though. It'll kind of throw the whole quilt off, I feel like, if they're too thick. Matter of fact, that's actually something I should be thinking about. I'm going to continue and use one sheet. I will favor this batting. This is the highest loft of batting that I have. It's still not very high at all, but I'll use the most of this. I'm okay with each Cheez-it being slightly different height. No two crackers are the same. Hear the buttons? Sounds almost kind of like hail. I'm gonna try a scientifical experiment. I have extras. This is the thing. There's this black fabric of the hole right here. See that? And it does shadow through to the front. I can see it if you're up close. It's not the end of the world. I'm not gonna cry about it, but if I can hide it, I wanna try to. And the idea is, what if I can cut a hole in this, just like this. Let that black fabric, the hole I cut was too big. Let that black fabric sit on top of it. This might work. So the hole I cut was too big. So it's not gonna work. Good thing this was just an experimental one. Now let's move right on, having failed at that, to the real one. It's gonna cut a smaller hole though. That's the move. Okay, yes, that was perfect. That was perfect. This is gonna take me forever. I'm not gonna do it, but if I can do it fast, I would rather do it. I would rather not see the black through. Doing it this way is also gonna, oh my gosh, this is perfect. It's also gonna make it, the illusion of the Cheez-it better, because I'm gonna quilt down in that hole. So then we'll have like kind of a puffing effect to make it look like a Cheez-it. That worked absolutely perfectly. What I'm gonna do next is use my washable glue stick, which washes out, and I'm just gonna glue this down a little bit. Where is it? Just put a little bit, probably in the corners, so that it doesn't fall off as I'm working and moving around. That little bit dries in a very short period. Jury's still out on whether one sheet of batting was enough. I need to see it in the final quilt. If it doesn't work, it's not the end of the world. It'll still look like a Cheez-it. And in any case, it'll just add to the weight and the heaviness of the quilt. So this is the last thing I have to do before I sandwich the quilt. And I have this batting here. This batting happens to be black for no reason. It's been sitting there, me being like, oh yeah, that's for that project, but I have no idea what it was meant for. So I'm just gonna use it, just to use it. It doesn't matter that it's black. This is a polyester, stitches up to 10 inches apart. I'm gonna stitch around each Cheez-it, and I'm gonna stitch a grid between the lines, and then I'm gonna, just for embellishment, there's a flight line right by my house, and the airplanes fly over my head constantly. I'm gonna put a red yarn tie in these blocks, the Cheez-it fabric blocks. I don't need it. I can go up to 10 inches with this, but I like the embellishment and the interest of it, so that's what I'm gonna do. This is black flannel sheet that I'm gonna use for the back. I originally bought this for my EPP quilt, but it's not big enough. It wasn't big enough for that, so I'll use it for this. I'm gonna get to doing this. Let's do a top-down view. I think the trapunto is going to work. Alright, step 1 is using this red thread and walking foot in the grid. In the ditch of the grid, I mean to say. Because that's gonna keep everything together. Like, you know, if the basting's not that good, as I continue working. So here I go. I am living for this trapunto fantasy. This is literally working so well. Alright people, this is the final result. I absolutely love it. This is my new favorite quilt. I find the Cheez-it quilt so beautiful and lovely. And thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe to my channel. I bring new quilt videos every Tuesday at 2 p.m. Eastern. And please come again.